Have they picked up all his wages, or have they picked up a proportion of his wages?
Well, I can't talk about the entire details, as you can understand, but they picked up a proportion of the wages. But I think what is more important is that Phil has given up a proportion of his wages, and the reason he's done that is because he wants to come back to the Premier League, and he wants to play with Stephen, and he wants to play at Villa.
Can I ask?
Other clubs.
Can I ask how
there were other clubs that offered the full wages, but it was more about the football.
But he's a Barcelona player, isn't he?
He's a Barcelona.
So he's under contract with Barcelona. So aren't Barcelona paying him and ultimately reclaiming a proportion of the money back from Aston Villa? I don't understand how he's taking a reduction. If he's got a contract with Barcelona, or have Barcelona already done something with that contract which reduces it?
So the way that the loans work, most loans, and this is no different, is, when you do a wage structured loan, you either pay a loan fee and the other club continue to pay you. But if you're crossing borders, and now with Brexit and with all the different scenarios, it gets a little bit more complex because, when you have to actually earn a salary, and, it's a different tax structure when you're working in England now than when you're working in Spain. So it's just a little bit more intricate than that. So basically, Aston Villa will pay the amount of salary that they can afford to pay. Barcelona have paid him for whatever that they had to pay him until he leaves, and Phil will take a deduction on the balance.
Right, yeah. Okay. Nonetheless, Kia, is Coutinho himself not somewhat exasperated that it didn't work out at Barcelona?
Well, that's a 50-50. What you say about worked out. I think, his first season he won the league. He was, he did very, very well the second season. Again, he had a very important part to play. I think seasons 3 and 4, Barcelona have gone through a tremendous shake-up. When you see Griezmann, Felipe, Dembele, De Jongs, the list goes on of players that actually moved there but couldn't quite gel, and they couldn't re-sign Messi. The loss of Neymar initially took the very big blow.
Yeah.
I think Barcelona has just been through a massive restructure. I think this new set of people that have actually come in with Laporta and his team are in a long road of restructuring of what the previous management had put in place.
Right.
And so it will take them a bit of time. And I think, when you get to a certain age, like Griezmann is and Felipe is and those more mature players, you really just want to kind of get on with it and progress.
Sure.
And Barcelona probably needs now younger players to take 1 or 2 years to come back and be the Barcelona that they were. And no doubt they will do, because they're a huge club.
Kia, you work hard, and I know that. I've known you for years. You're back in this country in the early hours of this morning, so you're out and about doing these big deals. But you guys do well, like yourself, like Raiola, like Jonathan Barnett. Jonathan Barnett was on the other day railing a bit about the prospect of FIFA regulations being brought in, the capping of transfer fees that would be capped at 10%. Now, Barnett was saying, we might not go that distance, but we'll certainly get around the table with FIFA. Where do you stand on it?
I stand differently to those guys. Those guys like to take their players on freeze, and I don't mean Jonathan, but I mean just generally. They like to run contracts down. They like to work slightly differently. We work completely separately. They wouldn't move players at a financial loss. They would move them if the clubs had to pay out, etc. We don't do that. We work completely differently. Not that it's better or worse. I don't mind that. I'm more into the fact that I think, there has to be some regulation put into place. I think you can't run wild. I also don't think that too much money can come out of football. I prefer to see a transfer between, two clubs, let's say Barcelona and, Chelsea, as an example. I prefer to see a transfer with a higher fee that goes between those two, than a free transfer and money coming out of that pool.
Right.
Because I think the more money that comes out of our business, the more then money has to be injected in by an owner. And now with financial fair play and other things, the money doesn't turn around. Tomorrow, when a player leaves Man United, who costs them 60, 70, 80 million, if he leaves on a free, that's 60, 70, 80 million out of the system.
Sure.
I don't see how that benefits football in the long run. I see that could be a damaging part, because every time you take 60, 70, 80 million out of a free transfer, those are fees that have gone out. Yes, short-term gain for 2 individuals or 3 individuals is there, but it's not a long-term gain for them or their companies or the overall sport.
Sure. Understood. Listen, you've had a busy one. Thank you, Kia. Coutinho in the country tomorrow, probably?
Probably.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Fingers crossed.
Kia Jarafshin, thank you as always for joining us. Thank you, mate. Kia Jarafshin got the deal done. There you go. You were in a very placatory mood with
Don't have to fight
the
them all
top
the time,
agents.
do I? I mean, he's turned around and made an observation about transfer fees, which is fair. What I wanted him to say was he's actually in favour of capping agents and regulating them and making sure they're transparent. But he went some way. I don't have to fight them all the time. Pick my fights sometimes.
Yeah, true. No, they're going to have to speak to FIFA whether they like it or not. Simon, thank you very much.